Hello everybody, welcome to this very straightforward and simple guide in how to clean your Logitech pedals. Now, as you're going to see, sometimes when I'm playing racing sims, either on the PlayStation or on my PC, I get spiking, and this is happening both with the brake pedal and with the throttle. And by spiking, what I mean is the little potentiometers that sit inside the wheelbase that control the input that shows the computer basically where your pedal is. They're spiking, so they're going like this. So when I press the brake pedal, sometimes it's putting more input, and the same with the throttle, and sometimes it's doing less. And also, the reason I'm going to be doing this is because in probably my favorite game of the minute, GT7, it's actually applying the brake automatically for me. And we're only talking fractional, but it's a few elements that just knock down the speed by a few miles an hour on the straights. Which is enough to lose by, which is rather annoying. And seeing that these pedals actually came out in July 2015, so if you own a set of these, they could be 9 years and older, which is crazy to think, isn't it? But what I'm going to be doing is literally with the little Allen key, I'm just going to be taking the pedals off and with the screwdriver, unscrewing the screws in the base, separating the top. Then I'm going to be using some air duster cleaner to actually remove some of the debris. And also I'll be spraying some electrical cleaner within the potentiometers themselves, just giving them a quick rotation, which will clean the pots as they call them. And hopefully it will all be fixed. So first off, with the Allen key, I'm going to be undoing the pedal tops. These shouldn't even really be tight, but it's fairly straightforward to do. And then I will stack up all of the pieces that I take out besides where I am. Rather than film all this, I'll probably skip some of these bits for you, but just to give you a rough idea of what I'm doing. And the reason I'm taking the tops off is because when you actually remove the plastic guard that sits on the top, you lift it clear of the pedals. And for those of you that are looking at this, I actually clean these pedals pretty much every time I use them, I actually clean the base to stop hairs getting in them. I don't have a pet, and it's just house dirt. And I guess some of that is because I actually race in my socks, and that obviously does a natural thing of picking up dirt and debris from around the house. So let's get these bits out and take them off for you. There we go. So I've removed the actual clutch pedal, I've removed the brake pedal, I've undone the throttle pedal ones, and that will just lift off. If you look, you've actually got different places to locate them, and that's actually because if you want, you can move the pedal plates this way or that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the hex bolts, Allen bolts actually in the pedals, lay them down that way, like that. And I know a lot of you won't, but as a straightforward guide, I've left the clutch pedal there, the brake pedal there, and the accelerator, throttle or gas pedal there, yes. So before I invert the pedals, I'm actually going to give these a quick wipe. As I say, I've just got a microfiber cloth. I'm not actually going to use any chemical cleaner. I'm just going to go around here, give them a quick clean, try and get all of the debris out. But what I probably will do, is me being me, is give them a deep clean when they're actually apart. So with the wheelbase turned over, if you look on the bottom, you actually can see these are the screws that actually hold the pedal bases to the plastic. So we're going to be leaving those ones in, but all of these ones that sit around, don't think there's one in there actually. Top plates one's there. I don't believe I have one under there, but we can have a look. I don't think there is down in there. No. Could be that the pedals have been taken apart in the past, but So leave these ones in and just take the silver pedal base screws out. There we go, that's all of the screws removed from the pedal plate that sits underneath. And yeah, so that will mean that the top part will separate from the base plate, but you will leave the pedals in situ. One thing I would do, although not entirely necessary, is I actually lay out the screws in the position that I took them out at. Now, these are all the same, so you don't need to worry about that. But quite often, if you're taking apart things, you will find that some of the screws are different sizes and different, well, yeah, different lengths, different threads. So I've emulated the pattern where the screws go on here and here and duplicated it over there. So I've now inverted the actual pedals and put them correct way up. You can see bits of dirt coming out. As I say, these pedals are actually second hand because, yeah, I hardly have any hair and my hair's not that long. But that should allow you, with a bit of wiggling, to be able to remove the top plate. Now, when you do so, there we go, first time out, cobwebs included, staggering. Look at that, gross, absolutely gross. Yeah, so when you remove the top plate, be careful as you do it because, as you will see, there's a cable attached there. This is obviously the cable that goes into the base of the wheel. Looks like there's a few dead bugs in here, but I'm going to give this a clean before I actually progress and do any work on it. These are the actual potentiometers, but we will get to those later. But look at that, eh? Yeah, definitely needs a clean. So I've gone and got my Shark little vacuum. As I say, I mainly use this for car detailing, but I've got some handy little attachments, so it will allow me to get into all the little nooks and crannies. There we go, that was a bit of a major operation, that was. There's a few bits of corrosion on the plate of the actual pedals and some of the paint's come off there. Not sure what this is in here, but yeah, it won't come off. But it just shows, doesn't it? The clutch pedal was fairly clean, the brake pedal was rather dirty, and the throttle pedal, even down behind here, it was just wedged with dirt. I've tried to get into the back of there. I've got a few more bits to clean out, hence why I've got some compressed air now. This is great stuff to use. Obviously you've got to be careful with it, but it allows me to get the straw right into the back of there. If you do see a little bit of moisture coming out, that will actually just evaporate away. So yeah, get yourself one of these, get yourself cleaning, it all just helps. There we go, I've given a bit more of a clean as best as I could. Another thing I've done is the little sprockets that sit in the bottom of there. Hard to see, but I've put the tiniest bit of grease on them. And I know it's not overly essential because, after all, it's a plastic gearing system, but I figured it had some on there when they were released, so having just cleaned it all off, I'd put some very light grease on it. Anyway, what's there left to do now? Well, obviously I want to give the potentiometers a quick clean, so I'm going to clear away this stuff so I can turn the pedals to the side and obviously rest that somewhere nice and easy. I've rotated the pedals around and I've actually rested the top plate, and the reason I do that is because I want the cables here to be slack. It's very easy to have these taut, and then they will pull these on the potentiometer. If you feel confident, you can actually go through and just make sure these are all securely fitted, but the area I want to get to is down in that little gap in there. So if you take your air pressure stuff, now obviously as I said before, you may get a fraction of moisture, but this evaporates straight away. You want to spray that in the gap, but whilst doing that, and obviously I can't do it because I'm using my camera, you actually want to press on the pedal as well, and this actually rotates the insides of the potentiometer. And if you imagine there's like a circular plate with a contact point, and when it rotates, the value increases and decreases on that point. That point can quite often get dirty, and I'm not going to take these apart. You can see the grease that I've put on there, so that's going to be there probably for another 15 years. Probably not in my ownership, because hopefully at one point I can upgrade to some seriously good pedals. That's that bit done. Next bit is to go through the same process with some electrical cleaner. And again, this is a special spray for electrical use. Obviously you don't want this to be plugged in and on, but the same principle applies. Spray into the little gap. Make sure your canister comes with one of these little point straws even, because that can get right down inside there where you want to clean it. Yeah, I've also got a feeling, as I said earlier, I was pretty sure these pedals have been taken apart. That one actually has an A, that one has a B, and that one has a C. So I think somebody's actually feeling them. I think that somebody's actually upgraded the insides by taking these out. And if you look at the caps, the black paint's come off, which means somebody's unscrewed them before. So the brake pedal on this one, and you won't be able to see the flex in my arm, requires a lot of force, which is why they actually feel really good. So yeah, it's at least had the spring or the rubber cushion upgraded inside there, but that's not for this video. Yeah, I can see that you can buy true brake systems that go in there, maybe one day. Anyway, let's get through and clean these with some electrical cleaner. There we go, that's all done basically. I've gone through the process a few times. Probably would have been nice to have filmed it, but when I was actually rotating this potentiometer like this, a hair came out. So yeah, not very good, but I've obviously cleaned up the base bits here, because you do get a tiny bit of leakage coming out here. But as I say, keep going through the process of pressing these. This brake pedal's a workout in itself. And obviously that will clean the plates of the potentiometer. So now all there is to do is to put the top plate back on, invert the pedals, put the screws in, like I say, that I've laid out in this handy order, and then screw these back into the top and plug it back in and play. There we go, all back together and relatively clean. Yeah, best thing is they smell really nice where they've been cleaned. Yeah, so considering the age, I'm very impressed with that. They all seem to have gone back together okay. One thing I will point out is when you put the top on, obviously make sure the cable routing is good, because you don't want to pinch any cables. But generally, if you leave the cabling where it is, you should be fine. All I've got to do is obviously clean up the debris that all blew out. Yeah, because it's gone all over my worktop. And also, another piece of advice is to regularly vacuum the area that you play in. I know, a bit of a chore, but there you go. So my pedals I normally mount on the floor, because at the minute I don't have a cockpit. I used to. I'm slowly getting back into sim racing. Yeah, but it's a bit more fun driving on the street, as they say. Anyway, if you like the video, give it a like. If you like the channel, give it a subscribe. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and this easy guide to how to clean the potentiometers in your Logitech pedals.